Our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. Thanks to our friends and partners at Mint Mobile, we have a hotline that you can call with a question to be heard on the show. And you can call that hotline anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259. Leave your question there and maybe you'll hear it be selected for the John Campea Show. So, Jonathan, what's our Mint Mobile hotline question today?
Hey, crew. How are you guys doing today? I'm calling from San Diego, California, and I'm calling because I'm reading this report on The Hollywood Reporter right now that's concerning the Knives Out 2 release. And it's saying that for a week over Thanksgiving, 3 major theater chains are going to be carrying the movie. And to me, this kind of seems like a lose-lose-lose for theaters, the film, and Netflix. Less people are going to see the movie in theaters and therefore will want to watch it on Netflix. The movie's going to have less eyes on it, and the theaters are going to have a really, really good movie, but only for a week. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Is there something that I'm missing? Let me know what you think and bring on the filthy.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And look, this is actually pretty big news.
It is.
Because one of the biggest conflicts, I guess you can say, in the industry has been between Netflix and the theaters. And, you know, Netflix theaters being like, you should put movies in theaters. Netflix being, well, yeah, but we have a streaming service, but they've been losing out on a lot of money, spending untold amounts of money on certain movies that literally don't make them a penny. And so they've been trying to come up with a way. Netflix and the major theater chains have, for the last while, trying to figure out a way that Netflix, while maintaining all of its core priorities, can put some of their movies in the theaters while the theaters maintain some of their core priorities. Now, look, my real estate agent said a really good piece of advice to me once. They said, my real estate agent said to me, this is when we're trying to negotiate to buy houses and stuff like that. He goes, look, some people think, you know, good deal is when it's a win-win. He goes, no, that doesn't happen. He said, a good deal is when everybody is a little bit unhappy. That's when you know you've got the right deal, when everybody is just a little bit unhappy. And I'm like, that actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. Look, Netflix and theaters, if they were going to come to any kind of a deal, you knew there was going to have to be compromises, right? Certain theatrical windows, who's going to put up how much marketing budget, how much, you know, all that kind of stuff, how wide of a release. Both sides are going to have to come up with compromises. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Rob, when they came to an impasse. We said, I don't know if they're going to be able to come up with this deal, but they did it. Netflix and the 3 major movie theater chains, Regal, AMC Theaters, and Cinemark, have reached a deal with Netflix. They've hammered it out. They all seem to be happy, but they both compromised. So this comes from the folks at Deadline who write this. This is a big deal. For the first time, all 3 big exhibitors are on board with releasing a major Netflix title, that being the Rian Johnson-directed sequel to Knives Out, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. The franchise that the streamer snapped up for nearly $400 million, as Deadline first told you. The movie will hit theaters on Wednesday, November 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving. So here's the basic gist of the deal. The movie theaters will have Knives Out 2, A Glass Onion, in theaters for 1 week, starting the day before Thanksgiving. Then the movie will go dark for about a month, and then the movie will pop up on Netflix. Now, the 2 big snags that has been preventing a deal between Netflix and the theater chains has again been, how big is the theatrical window going to be? That's always been Netflix's big holdup. And the theater's biggest holdup has been, how much marketing budget are you, Netflix, going to commit to marketing? Because there's no point in us putting this movie in our theaters if nobody knows it's in our theaters. And so they worked and negotiated, and they came up with this. Okay, so the basic question coming in from our viewer is this a lose-lose-lose? It's only in theaters for a week. Netflix isn't going to get the benefit of as much benefit as they can. The theaters aren't going to get as much benefit as they can. There's definitely compromises. But here's why I like this deal and why I think this deal will evolve over time. I think this is the first deal they've been able to strike. I think they're going to test it out. I think you're going to see Netflix and the theaters work again together. But here's why this can work. We all know that a movie makes, with very rare exceptions, the movie makes a vast majority of its money in its first week. The first week is the week when a movie makes most of its money. Hell, a recent report suggested that most movies make 80% of their box office in the first 2 weeks. So you're looking at the vast majority of people are going to want to get this. Here's the other thing. Knowing that this movie comes out on Netflix, not for another month, there's going to be that whole thing, ooh, I get to see it a month early with a lot of people. I think that's going to drive a lot of ticket sales. So is it perfect for the movie theaters? No, to only have it for a week, but it's a compromise. They get it for a week, and that's the week when movies make most of their money. That's the week when movies get most people going to see them, and those people are going to buy popcorn and soda and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to work for the movie theaters. It's a compromise, but it's one that's going to work for them. Now for Netflix. I mean, only having a 1 week theatrical window that's out there. You're not letting word of mouth spread. You're not getting all that kind of stuff. So will it really help it a lot when it goes on Netflix? Well, again, like the theaters, Netflix did compromise. But think about this. If this movie makes, I don't know, $150 million, that's $150 million back in their pocket. That's like more than a third of their overall investment into this property in the first place recouped that they never would have gotten a single dollar before. Got to remember that. The alternative to this is that Netflix got nothing. Now they're going to get that. And Rob, the one thing you and I have always talked about is with it playing in theaters, it's going to make it that much more appealing to people to sign on to Netflix and watch it on Netflix. So yes, did Netflix compromise a few things? They absolutely did, but I still think they come out way ahead. So, Rob, I hear this deal and I'm like, you can see the compromises from a mile away, but you can also, if you look, you can see the wins for the theater. You can see the wins for Netflix. And I'm sure this is a type of deal that will evolve over time. I'm sure this won't be the same deal that'll be in place for the next 2 or 3 years. Hey guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. And now for the plot twist. I'm just kidding, there isn't one. Seriously, Mint Mobile just has premium wireless service from $15 a month. There's no trapping you into a 2-year contract or opening the bill to find these crazy fees. There's no luring you in with free subscriptions to streaming services that you'll forget to cancel and be charged full price for. I used to dread opening my phone bill every month because every time I was opening it, it was like playing roulette. I never knew what the actual price was going to be, and it always seemed to get higher. But not with Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And if you're worried about the complication of switching things over, don't. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So guys, get premium wireless from just $15 a month and no unexpected plot twists at mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Seriously, you'll make your wallet very happy at mintmobile.com/Campea. Anyway, you see this story. What are your first thoughts on it?
Well, look, I mean, we've always said on this show, and I think it's been bared out, that if a movie does well theatrically, it ups the value of that movie forever on whatever platform, whether it's streaming, whether it's physical media, whether it's digital download, whatever. It's more valuable. A movie like this, I do not understand why anybody would invest $200 million or $210 million into The Gray Man or $450 million into 2 Knives Out movies without the idea of doing because these are studio level films. The amount of money they're spending is the same amount of money as a major studio. Why don't they mount a campaign? Why aren't they releasing? I mean, this movie could potentially worldwide with this cast. I could see a movie like this making $500 million worldwide. Why would you not do that? Because the thing is, as we know,
by the way, the first one made over $300 million. That's the first one.
Yeah.
When nobody knew about it and it didn't get its Oscar nominations and all that kind of stuff, now it's probably going to be higher.
And that movie, the original Knives Out was made for $65 million or something like that. It
Somewhere
made
in that neighborhood.
So to me, it makes absolutely no sense. I understand they picked this up, but what are the economics?
By the way, the budget of the first one was $40 million.
Okay, $40 million, so it's worth even more. What are the economics on them putting this on their streaming service? All they're going to do by releasing it traditionally, I mean, look, like you said, this deal will evolve. I think what they're going to look at is they're going to be like, releasing it for a week didn't really give us what we wanted. I think they should commit. They should commit to a global release on this movie and spend $100 million marketing it, get the money back, because, all the streaming services, Netflix only business model is based on subscribers.
Yes.
That's it. Why shouldn't they have global theatrical revenue as part of their business model? People, because not everybody who's interested in seeing Knives Out is going to the movie theater. People are going to go, where is that Knives Out to? Oh, it's on Netflix. We don't have Netflix. I'll subscribe. I mean, if it made $500 million, they'll get say half of that, say 250 million into their coffers, and they've created global awareness, and people will be more happy to find it on Netflix. It makes no sense to me that they're spending this amount of money and they're not getting any kind of monetary return other than subscriptions.
So, Chris, I mean, I think there's also an argument to be made here for baby steps. This is the first thing. I agree with Rob that I think that probably in the future, Netflix will see this 1 week experiment and say, you know what, we could probably benefit even more from making it 2 or 3 weeks and then see where they go. But what do you think about this deal in principle? I mean, there's never been a deal like this with Netflix. I didn't even think this deal was possible. What are your takeaways?
Is this just a domestic release too for 1 week, or is this worldwide?
I believe it's domestic release, a 600 theater domestic release, but it could be wider than that.
I mean, it doesn't feel like baby steps. It feels like a very small crawl. And I feel like we should commit or get off the pot here, because this whole time, like Rob was bringing up, I have not understood why they put so much money into this for a streaming service. Nor did I not understand why it wasn't getting a theatrical release from the get-go, because it does tick all those prestige boxes and it needs to be in theaters in order to qualify for those things, right? So it makes sense they're going to have it in theaters. I don't know if I understand the logic here of just trying it for 1 week. They're just going to bare naked ladies it and then see what happens. Like,
nice reference.
I feel like
that.
I feel like we need a bit more commitment here, right? Because, we've seen it time and time again. People, when they love a movie, then they commit to the streaming, right? That's when we really see those numbers go up on our streaming services. So if you have this in theaters for a longer amount of time, I know in my household, when we love a movie, we then start watching it on a loop. So if I could go watch it in theaters and then the month after, then I can binge it all I want on Netflix, that would help. And it would also help me convince my family members, oh, hey, you didn't catch this? You should absolutely do a Netflix subscription, since I kicked all of you off of mine. And they would maybe subscribe to this.
I still understand the idea coming from AMC Theaters, which is they literally have it in their employee handbook. They have on one of the inside covers of it that literally says crawl, walk, run. Mm-hmm. So I can totally see Netflix. I understand Netflix going, look, this is a total break from our traditional model. Let's stick our toe in the water. Let's see what kind of results we get here. Because I'm hoping at least that Netflix is looking long-term here. And so they're not just saying, because look, what I wouldn't want to have happen is them to put all their eggs in one basket with this, have it not go well, and then going, well, that's it. We tried the theatrical model and it didn't work for us. So so they're sticking their toe in the water the 1 week. I'm hoping they're going to see that this benefits them with all the things you were talking about, Rob, that they got all those benefits, and then they go, 6 months from now, they try it with another movie, go, we're going to try 2 weeks. And then, maybe a year later, they try with another. And then 5 years from now, it'll just be a regular thing that Netflix puts their big major films in full theatrical releases first.
I still don't understand, though, that this film has done incredibly well at festivals already. It has great notices. People are saying it's better than the original. Mm-hmm. This is what a motion picture studio wants, is this movie. So they can look at the actual theatrical model that's worked for 100 years and go, let's just do that. I don't understand what their pushback is.
But at least let's give them credit that they're starting to move towards that exact thing you're describing.
But the thing is, why I don't understand why are they so reticent to just embrace a business model that we've already seen works?
Yeah.
Because the way they're doing business right now is the way they've done business for 20 years. And by the way, it's a way they've done business that have still, as much as we love Disney Plus, they are the number one player in the game. So
I understand that, but look,
it's difficult to convince people to change, especially change when it's worked for them for so long.
But I would say,
look, your stock is tanking, though. Embrace change or perish.
But I think.
Why are we getting so pissed off?
I 100% agree with you. That's why I think they're trying this. Mm-hmm. I just think instead of saying, well, why aren't you just going full blown into this right now? I think we got to be applauding them for saying, you know what? A lot of other companies like this die on their sword. They'll rather fall on their sword. But instead, they're breaking their traditional model. And I think this will lead them to exactly what you're talking about.
I would say that their traditional model doesn't work.
I agree. That's why they're trying this.
I mean, and theatrical, how can you imagine, okay, you're a Wall Street investor and you know that Netflix has finally decided to go all in and they have almost a bulletproof movie to do it with. this Knives Out, coming off a 300 million gross. You've got great festival notices. You have an incredible cast. There's no better movie. And what does your investor say when it shows that this opened to $85 million? And it won't, because it's only in 600 screens. So they're not.
It can make 85 million on 600 screens.
Well, I think that you need a lot more screens for something like that. And what would an investor do? What they've done is they've set themselves up for this experiment to wind up being disappointing.
Why are you putting me in the position that I have to be the one defending Netflix? I've been the one attacking Netflix on this for years, saying they need to be theatrical, they need to be theatrical, and I'm
fun.
sitting here saying,
Because-
hey, good for them doing baby steps.
I just think in a case like this, you don't have to do baby steps. It's weird to me.
I think it's wise. I do. I've seen a lot of businesses tank because they didn't take intermediate steps before going whole hog into something. But I'm just happy they're doing it. Come on, let's be happy. They're gonna put a movie.
I mean,
in
what they should
theaters.
do then, if they want to do baby steps, give it to Lionsgate to release, and partner up with a distributor that'll put it in theaters and make their own. I'm sure Lionsgate would love to have this movie, and they'll market it for you. And since they don't care if theatrical, do a 50-50 split or 75-25 or something. Give it to somebody that's.
I just can't believe that Netflix is finally doing the thing you and I have been screaming for years that they need to do, and they're finally taking their first steps, and you're not giving them props for taking the first step.
I think they're doing it half-assed, and I think that they're
do it
leaving
harder.
money on the
Oh
table.
God! That's how businesses fail. That's how businesses fail.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. Can we all just agree that in principle, them putting this movie in theaters
In
is a good
principle, it's
thing?
good.
principle, it is,
It
yeah.
is good.
Right?
They're just doing it wrong.
Well, you know what? If we get 3 years from now, and because of this step approach, they're doing it on a regular basis, then we're all going to be happy.
It's true.
If this approach leads us to that, I'll be happy.
Well, this should be like the Disney model. So some things are like Disney Plus, some things are theatrical.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's perfect. Some things would be Netflix, some things would be Netflix.
That's where I
theatrical.
think that they should go. I mean, I just watched the new trailer for
This could be a CEO issue. It could. Who knows?
the Lindsay
remember, even
Lohan
Disney-
Christmas movie.
Even Disney
I'm gonna
has
watch the
messed
shit
this
out of
up.
that movie. I
Like
love
Disney-
Christmas trash.
That Disney with Disney Plus, which is a brand new business, even they fucked this up. Like Disney was like, okay, so we're gonna have Black Widow, yeah, and we're gonna put it in theaters and on Disney Plus at
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
time. That was a fuck show.
Yeah, and it was
so like even they're figuring it out, and they were brand new. So Netflix, which has done it one way for so long, for them to say we're gonna break our way of doing it because it does not work in the modern context, we're gonna take that first step towards that. Listen. Do I wish that they had come right out and said, fuck it, we're just full theatrical release? Of course I do. But I know that that's not realistic, that they were going to do that. I never thought they would do this. I never thought they'd even take the first step. So I'm just happy. I'll take it.
I'm going to be curious to see how they're going to reconceptualize their marketing, because if their trailers
Yeah.
look just
Yep.
like a Netflix trailer, they're going to cause confusion in the marketplace.
I agree. So there's a lot of things they need to listen. They need to relearn their industry now. And it's going to take them a little bit of time, but I think they're on the right road, at least at any rate. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, maybe you disagree with all of us and you're like, fuck theatrical. Just put this thing on Netflix. I want to watch this at home right now. I don't want to have to wait another month. And listen, I'm sure some of you do feel that way. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.